So I was replaying Dishonored mainly because it's the greatest game ever created after Assassin's Creed 1, but also because it's a game that has insane replay value. I can't think of a game that has higher replay value than Dishonored, and while I was playing it, enjoying it, and just honestly being taken away and fascinated by how well this game has aged, both in terms of gameplay, story, and art style, I started getting a bit frustrated, which is an Assassin's Creed fan's favorite pastime, is to get frustrated and compare and think of what a certain franchise like Assassin's Creed could do better when compared to other games. And I was thinking of how many things Assassin's Creed could actually learn from a game like Dishonored. Now bear in mind they are different games. One of them is a kind of stealth sim in first person and the other one is a third person action adventure game, but there are a lot of similarities in terms of the player fantasy that it aims to deliver. It aims to deliver the fantasy of being an unstoppable assassin, of being a stealthy, shadowy figure that seems almost superhuman, in the case of Dishonored actually being superhuman, as they stalk, hunt down, and take down their targets. They both, in my opinion, do so incredibly successfully, especially the earlier Assassin's Creeds do this fantasy a lot of justice. But I still think that there's a lot that this franchise could learn from Dishonored, and I broke it down into 3 core ideas that I really hope that Assassin's Creed takes into the future, and with the coming of Assassin's Creed Hexe as the next big Assassin's Creed game that seems to be borrowing some ideas from Dishonored in terms of its dark atmosphere, in terms of its supernatural abilities, in terms of its linear design, I hope that they really do lean into this philosophy of being inspired by a game like Dishonored. So in this video I'm going to discuss the 3 main ideas that I think Assassin's Creed could borrow from Dishonored to be a much better franchise than it currently is. The first thing that I think Dishonored could really teach Assassin's Creed is truly open mission design. Now this is especially true for the last few games where we have been sold this idea of stealth assassination missions in the RPG games being open-ended and being able to be tackled in many different ways, and honestly it doesn't really feel like that's the case. The biggest example of this, or the best example of this, is probably Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I remember the Paris DLC was kind of sold as this DLC where we would experience a return of the black box missions, and Eivor would be able to hunt down a target, accessing the stronghold where the target is in a variety of different ways. But what ended up happening is that it was a very linear, mandatory experience that required a lot of gates to be passed for you to reach your target, and it really didn't give you the agency that players were hoping it would. In Dishonored, every mission is a layered sandbox. You're basically dropped into an environment with multiple entry points, hidden paths, verticality, disguises, distractions, eavesdropping opportunities. You can listen to NPCs and get clues as to what to do next. You can talk to NPCs and they might help you or hinder you, and there's truly so many distinct approaches to reach your target. And what I love about Dishonored is that you can choose to engage with the world and discover opportunities, or you can just pay attention to the level design and discover quote-unquote hidden routes that will allow you to reach your target in faster ways, sneakier ways, or you can just go guns blazing through the center. One thing that Dishonored has done masterfully is making you believe like you're discovering these for yourself. Obviously, the level designers have playtested this to hell, and they know every single possible approach that a player could take. And yet, when I'm playing the game, even though I rationally know that the level designers have, made this vent so that it goes up here so I can sneak in through this corner to skip a few guards and access the rooftop, I still feel like it's me who's discovering this and being an assassin who's problem solving on the fly. And the missions are truly open-ended because they don't hinder that kind of exploration and they don't punish you for playing the game less. In fact, you're very often rewarded with added safety, a few, trinkets that you can steal here or there, and a lot of vantage points and a lot of different entry points that reduce that risk factor. And that's what I think Assassin's Creed could learn from this game. Rather than waypoint following and scripted infiltration, which Assassin's Creed has been doing lately, AC could embrace truly open-ended missions with multiple kill opportunity. The closest that Assassin's Creed has been to this is obviously Assassin's Creed Unity, that I think got pretty close to the perfect open-ended mission design for AC, but if you want to get to the levels of Hitman and Dishonored, I think you have to open up even more and let the player truly explore things that will sometimes be a quick way of killing a target. I think that Ubisoft as a whole is really afraid of players playing the game less because they're really concerned with user retention, and that's why they've added all these leveling and grinding elements to the game. And that leads me into the second point that I think Dishonored could truly teach Assassin's Creed, which is that Dishonored has missable player discovered content. Dishonored is not asking for your permission or your approval. It's not afraid for you to skip some of its content. That's why everyone says that Dishonored is such a replayable game, and now that I'm playing it for the second and third time, I've experienced this myself, where I'm playing the game again, doing the same missions again, but feeling like I'm playing it all over because I'm discovering new characters to talk to, new potential entry points, new different strategies. It's like insane how much I missed the first time around. And the way that Assassin's Creed is built right now is in a way that basically forces the player to experience the entire game no matter what. Assassin's Creed Shadows, for example, something that really struck me when I was playing it is how it will do the classic RPG AC thing where you'll begin a mission in a certain city and the mission will send you to the other point of the map because it wants you to slowly throughout the missions have to travel incredible distances, so you're eventually discovering the entire map. And even though some might argue that's a natural way of discovering the game, I see through that and just feel like I'm being forced to go there just so they can say and justify why the map is so big and why there's so many locations that you have to go to when you can set the same mission within the same city if you wanted to. And that fear that Assassin's Creed has for you to miss some of its content, whether it's the map or some of activities or something like that, is, I think, something that works to the detriment of the experience, because it removes the value in exploration if you basically know that you're going to go to that location anyway. Sometimes in Shadows, I would look at the map and want to go somewhere, but deep down I know that the next mission or the next target would basically take me there anyways, so there's no real incentive to go and find out what there might be, and there's also no real reward to that exploration in terms of tangible advantages to the mission. In Dishonored, if I explore the sandbox that I'm in and talk to NPCs or discover routes, it will actually help me with taking down my target in either a non-lethal way or a lethal way, or just helping me with the entry point. And again, I think that AC could learn from this. Instead of checklist-style completion, Assassin's Creed could reward attentive players with unique storylines, moral choices, or just lore that you add that's entirely missable. I love when games create content that can be completely missed by players and the game doesn't care if you miss it, because you have to be the one to work for it and be rewarded for it, not the game forcing you to go there just to go, you see how much content there is, you see what we did, like you see how many hours we have in this game, see how it's worth the price. Like at the end of the day, I want to be the one exploring that out of my own free will, which ironically is what Assassin's Creed is about, and if I don't do it, I don't want to be punished either. And that links perfectly into my third point, which is that we need more player agency, and specifically with Dishonored, player agency and analysis over the actions that we take. What I like about Assassin games is when they explore the morality of the character that you're playing as. Assassin's Creed very often doesn't really question the morality or the ethics or the mental state of the assassins that you're playing as, even though they kill hundreds of people. Even if you want to call into the canon, where obviously assassins kill less than in the actual game, in the canon, these protagonists still take down a lot of people. And in Dishonored, that's reflected in the world a lot of the times. Depending on how you play as Corvo, whether it's incredibly lethal or not, the world will react to those actions and basically judge you for how much violence you use. Your playstyle affects the world's moods, it affects NPC dialogue, and even the ending. If you go full lethal, the city will basically rot with plague and fear, and there'll be more rats, and the little girl Emily will basically look at you as this kind of monster that she eventually wants to be like, and she's inspired to be violent, and some of the NPCs that you're around will feel disappointed in you. And if you play like a ghost, if you play non-lethal, people will talk of hope, of this like shadowy figure that's bringing hope to the city, and you with your actions shape the atmosphere. This is something that Assassin's Creed really has never done, and we've seen it in a linear fashion with Assassin's Creed 1 and how people slowly start fearing Altair and knowing that Altair is there, and Assassin's Creed 3 sometimes questions these things as well, but for the most part these consequences hasn't really been explored. And in the RPG games where you're supposed to be role-playing and you want to feel like there's consequences to your actions, there still hasn't been that exploration of what happens when you kill hundreds of people compared to when you don't. I think AC could really try and adopt this in their next game. They should let stealth or brutality, depending on what approach you take, change the city's tone, population behavior, and even a faction's perception of the Assassin Brotherhood, especially if they're not that concerned with the lore anymore and the fact that this is supposed to be a recreation or reliving of events. You should have a consequence to your actions. If you kill recklessly, you'll become feared. Cities might get more guards, civilians might avoid you, factions might distrust you, and if you stay unseen, if you play as a ghost, you'll basically be worshipped. You'll basically be trusted by factions, or certain NPCs might help you, maybe even guards help you because they know that you just want to kill their fucking tyrant boss or whatever. Like I don't actually know how it would be manifested in Assassin's Creed, but one thing I love about Dishonored is, I guess you can sum it up by attention to detail. Everything about this game screams passion and care and handcrafted. Whenever I play the game, I just feel like every single area has been cared for and looked at by the developers, and that's something that Assassin's Creed could truly benefit from. A real feeling of consequence, a real feeling like the world is lived in, and a real feeling like the game is not asking for your approval. So those are the three things that I really do think Assassin's Creed could learn from, and I made a whole video just about how much I love Dishonored, so if you want to watch that video, you can check it out now.